Okay, welcome everyone. We're going to call to order our Tuesday, July 14th meeting of the Bountiful City Council. This is our regular work session, and so we're going to get going tonight. First item on our agenda is a Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, so I'd invite the audience and the council to stand and repeat the Pledge of Allegiance with me. All right, ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So, as a council and a city, we've all enjoyed an exciting week of events for America 250. We have one of our co-chairs of our committee here with us tonight, who helped put together just a thorough celebration that is still ongoing with some events, but a really packed week. I know many of us were able to be at several of those. They were very impressive. And because we only have one council meeting in July, and it doesn't actually land the week of Independence Day or Pioneer Day, but wanted to keep that going, I invited one of our residents, David Irvine, to give our thought today, and to give it with a little bit of an eye towards our nation's birthday, so that we could continue some of that 250 spirit into our midweek between July holidays. So, Mr. Irvine, I'm going to turn the time over to you for our opening thought.
Thank you. I just have to say that I had not expected to walk in on a discussion of professional dancing, and
we like to keep things exciting here.
It reminded me of my favorite New Yorker cartoon that shows these two justices walking down the steps of the Supreme Court, and one says to the other, "The pay isn't so great, but you sure get to see some swell movies." So good luck with that. I appreciate the mayor's invitation to make a couple of comments about our 250th birthday, which is a pretty exciting thing. And I wanted to lead off with I had just a few photographs that I took on our recent trip through this area. And if we could start with Fort Ticonderoga, which is at the bottom of Lake Champlain. And this is beautiful country. It's absolutely gorgeous. But this is an old French fort that was built during the French and Indian Wars. It's traded hands back and forth a dozen times between then and the Revolutionary War. But it has some particular significance because Fort Ticonderoga was the object of an American attack in December 1775. And the object of the attack was to seize the cannon that were at Fort Ticonderoga and haul them back to Boston. And that attack was led by Ethan Allen and Benedict Arnold. And Henry Knox, the Boston bookseller who became an artillerist, was responsible for hauling 60 tons of artillery 300 miles from Fort Ticonderoga in the dead of winter to Boston. And they used rafts to float them down the lake. They were ingenious in getting them across the Hudson River. They had ox teams, and finally, in March 1776, they showed up in Boston, and those cannon were placed around the Dorchester Heights and persuaded the British that it was time to leave. And that broke the siege of Boston. And this is a very historic place, in my opinion, and I've always had some special affection for those brave soldiers who made that possible. The next slide was taken not far from there. That's Lake Champlain in the background, and I happened to run into a very distinguished ghost from the past, and that was Major General Horatio Gates. General Gates was in command of the Northern Army after 1776, And he was responsible for the first major defeat of the British forces at Saratoga in New York in October 1777. And that particular defeat resulted in the French acknowledging their willingness to enter a military alliance to assist the colonies in severing our tie with Great Britain. Many of us have been to Washington, D.C., and we have made the trek to the National Archives, where the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution are on public display. And probably a lot of people here have had a chance to look at that and think about it a little bit. I have, and I have to confess that those, in a way, are almost bloodless documents. And so the next photograph I wanted to share with you is a rather interesting artifact that is at Fort Ticonderoga. This is a knapsack that was carried almost for the duration of the Revolutionary War by a private soldier, Benjamin Warner. And he saw combat action in many different areas during his service. And in 1780, he had been wounded, he was ill, and so he was allowed to go back to his home. And in 1837, he wrote out a will, and that's the next slide. And I thought you might be interested in some of the things that he had to say, as well as the way he wrote what he wanted to happen to that knapsack. So this knapsack I carried through the War of the Revolution to achieve the American independence. And then the next slide, he goes on to say, I'm transmitting this to my oldest son and so on to the latest posterity. And while one shred of it shall remain, and then this is the last one that really touched me. Never surrender your liberties to a foreign invader or an aspiring demagogue. There were a lot of men and some women like Benjamin Warner who sacrificed enormously during the Revolutionary War. James Madison, who authored the Constitution many years later, made an observation in the Federalist Papers, number 58, talking about what had happened, and he said, an elected despotism was not the government we fought for. I thought about that a lot because I'm not sure that James Madison really fought in the sense that Benjamin Warner did, and that this old soldier, just before he died, wanted to make sure that his children hung on to that knapsack until it was no longer in existence. And this was his charge to them, I thought was pretty impressive. And that's what I wanted to share with you on our 250th birthday, and wish you all many, many happy returns. So thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Council, as many of us were able to join with David at a conference in Boston, and I always feel lucky when I get to hear him give historical perspectives, and he gave some to my husband and I as we were headed out on the Freedom Trail, and so I thought that this would be a really meaningful way for us to continue our celebrations, but our celebrations through remembering and through education. So David, thank you for making time to come tonight and share that with us, and add just a little bit more of the 250 flavor throughout the month of July. Next, we will move on to public comment, and invite any of the public that are interested in public comment to come forward. This is your opportunity to share your thoughts with us. We have 10 minutes of public comment reserved, 2 minutes for any speaker that would like to come for that total of 10. We'd invite you to give us your name and where you live, and the time is now yours.
Richard Watson, Bountiful. First, I want to thank everyone for supporting 250, especially the concert we had. What a cool concert that was with the Bountiful Philharmonia. Also, I want to thanks for supporting all the other concerts. And we have a big concert coming up with Toast, September 4th. I left a poster on the table for ticket links. So this is an important concert for us because this helps us with our budget. So anyway, I'm also here as Citizen Richard. I don't know if anybody's noticed the roundabout at 5 Points. It seems to be getting more dangerous. Maybe it's just me, but even today, twice, I almost got hit because people don't follow the yield around the roundabout. So even before that, I thought, is it possible? I know Bountiful used to have in their newsletters like safety tips, but maybe we could bring that back and have traffic tips and maybe some education on how to drive in a roundabout, because apparently a lot of people do not know. And I did notice like a month ago, there was an accident there, and they had the white car right up on the garden area. So anyway, just my thought. I hope we can also use that as educational for other areas, and like Main Street as well. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Richard. We made a note, and we'll share that idea with our staff. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to offer public comment tonight? Seeing none, we will close public comment and move on in our agenda, which is to consider approval of the minutes for a previous meeting held on June 9th, 2026. Council members, have you had an opportunity to review the minutes that were prepared, and is anyone prepared to make a motion on those minutes?
Mayor, I'm happy to make a motion.
We have a motion from Councilmember Segura-Barr. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Councilmember Murray. All in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're going to consider those minutes adopted unanimously. Gary, it is throwing me off that you're on that side. Next is a BCYC report. Councilmember Murray, I don't see any of our youth here. Do you want to give us any update on, I know that we've, between school years, which is what our youth council year is tied to, on our youth council, and
Yeah, the council has been selected, and I think now we're just working with the advisors on a day to swear them all in. And so I saw your email, so this will be good to get that nailed down. I think they're appreciative of the attention we want to give to the youth.
okay, we will look forward to seeing the youth council back here closer to the start of the school year, and we will bypass their report tonight and move forward with council reports. And since we were with you, Councilmember Murray, we'll stay with you for council reports and work our way south.
I'll talk about mosquitoes because this is a unique year where every trap in Davis County has come up positive with West Nile. There's only one known human West Nile case right now, and out of Box Elder. But talking to Director White, if Bountiful residents see in a particular area, their area with mosquitoes, to definitely take advantage of the service that they offer to come and spray, or come and identify where the mosquitoes are coming from, so they can treat that section, so that you can reduce the chances of getting West Nile.
Thank you. I appreciate that our tax dollars help us pay for that service, and thank you for reminding us that we should all take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Councilmember Child, do you have a council report for us tonight?
We, as you've mentioned, America 250, and Rhonda is here, who did tremendous amount of work on this, and Richard, who helped put together the concert. I was very surprised, I think, and delighted with the response that we had to the America 250 events. And it clearly met a need in the community to gather to be together, to celebrate together, which is, I think, an important function of what we can do as a municipal government to help facilitate opportunities like that to build community and to help fill that need. And clearly it did. As we started the bike parade and we wondered if we'd have 150 kids, and we gave out all the numbers, all 400 numbers, and then there were countless more kids in the parade. Clearly that filled a need. And the response that I've had personally since then is overwhelmingly, can we do that again? Can we please do that again? So thank you, Rhonda and Richard and everyone else who gave so much time and effort, and to the staff for putting in extra hours on a holiday weekend. We appreciate that so much. I'm also very deep into handcart days, and that is quite the volunteer effort. We have over 1,000 volunteers that will be putting on handcart days next weekend. That doesn't include people who built floats or teachers who get students there during the summer to march in the parade. Another remarkable thing about our community is this willingness to volunteer for these things, which they're fun for the individual, but for the community, it helps define us, and it helps bring people here, and it helps keep people here. And so, again, thank you to volunteers, and I feel that this is an important thing that we're doing here in the city.
Thank you. Those events were super fun, and a great time was had by all. And yes, thank you to the many volunteers who helped put those events on. And you will be in our thoughts and prayers as you and your team finish out handcart days.
Pray for clouds, please.
We will definitely keep reduction in temperature for frost in our minds. Councilmember Segura-Barr, do you have a council report for us?
Nothing this evening. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, Councilmember Bell.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mayor. I just want to report on two items, two different assignments. One on the South Davis Rec District, a couple things are happening there. So they've had a couple movie nights. They've been pretty successful over at the town square. I think they just finished Zootopia here just recently, and they felt like that went pretty good. They have one more scheduled this summer, so they've done two already, and the third one, they were going to do that Project Hail Mary, but apparently the cost, that movie's quite in demand, and so they're re-looking to see what movie they're going to use, but I think it's on August 1st is what they're targeting. Mayor, I'm sad to report that the Davis School District interlocal agreement has not been signed. So there's a sticking point. They have looked at it. It feels like they're concerned about a $3,000 fee that's being charged annually, in addition to some of the other fees that they actually they proposed to the board. But there was a $3,000 annual fee to cover some of the other uses of the facility that they're struggling with. So at least that's what we think. We've got some vacations going on over, with the district, and it's a little bit hard. So stay tuned. It will happen eventually, and Tiff Miller, who's the director there at the rec center, is really trying to get this in place by the beginning of next year or school year. There are some, just information, there's the board of the rec district is comprised of city council people from each of our cities, so Bountiful, West Bountiful, Centerville, North Salt Lake, and Woods Cross, and then there's two members that at large from the communities that serve, and one of those is right now in the process of, their term has ended, and so there will be a new board member shortly. I think it'll actually happen because of all the vacations. It could be even into September, it looks like. So that's happening. They've gathered all those who would like to be on that, who've submitted applications, and that process is closed, but that will happen here soon. So things are going good there, though, in general. I would say they're busy, had a great summer, and I would say just one last thing on them. Hockey continues to be in high demand at the center. They continue to rent it out, the facility for primarily on Sunday, but the hockey lessons, anything to do with hockey seems to be, the Mammoth have definitely, and maybe some Olympic things and whatever, over time have really got things going there. Just a change topic on the Traffic Safety Committee. Councilwoman Segura Barr and myself get to serve on that. And we had a chance to meet this last week with our city engineer Lloyd and other folks. Had a really good meeting. The focus of that meeting was on Main Street. We've got some concerns on Main Street that we really wanted to examine, speed and some traffic or pedestrian things. Really appreciated Lloyd and his staff putting together some really great materials. We came up with some ideas and some suggestions that at a future meeting, I believe Lloyd will share those with us when it's appropriate. But we're excited about that. Appreciate, Lloyd, your work and the staff. And then just as maybe informational only, I think we did agree as a committee that we're going to try to meet quarterly. We've got a number of areas in the city to address. It's likely that the top two in the next meeting will be 1800 South and Davis Boulevard, and then also 1500 South and Orchard. Both of those have enough accident reports that we want to take a really close look at them right now as soon as we can. But again, I think it's gone well, and feel good about what's happening. Appreciate the chance to serve on this board with Councilwoman Segura Barr and everybody that's on there. That for everybody's information, that committee is Lloyd, and it's Charles Benson from the Streets Department, our Chief of Police, Ed Bueller, and who am I missing?
Those are the three.
Yeah, and then us two here. So anyway, but good stuff, and excited about some of the suggestions that will become forthcoming for Main Street.
Thank you both for taking on that assignment. Those are really important discussions, and I know sometimes challenging discussions, and look forward to having this committee on a regular cadence. So look forward to having reports from both of you that we can act on as a full council. Council members, I have a few different updates to share. The first would be that there is yet another Bountiful 250 bike ride opportunity this coming Saturday. It's going to be in the evening at 7 p.m. We'll be riding the Peregrine Trail. Anyone that's interested in joining us should meet at the Mueller Park sign that's right there at the entrance to Mueller Park. We'll start riding at 7 p.m. Hopefully it'll be cool enough, and we will be doing the new Peregrine Trail. So please share that to friends and families that might be interested. A few members of our Trails Committee will also be joining us for that ride. This past Saturday, we did a hike. We've been alternating bikes and hikes. We had a few folks join us to go to Pyramid Peak Saturday morning and get to see that really cool viewpoint from Bountiful. So we'll continue alternating between hikes and bike rides through the remainder of the summer. I failed to mention that we have excused Councilmember Richard Higginson, who is traveling this week and can't join us, so I need to make sure I mentioned that. Also wanted to share, at the south end of the county, we are sometimes not as engaged and connected with Hill Air Force Base, but clearly that military installation is a significant facility for our county and a place where many of our residents, both from a uniform and a civilian perspective, work. So wanted to acknowledge that there has been a change of command. Colonel Daniel Cornelius, who has served as the commander of the base, has completed his 2-year assignment and is being called to take on a new assignment at the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. Colonel Eric Quidley, who is coming from having been at the Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma, is taking over. He's brought his young family to Davis County, and so they're looking forward, they told me, to skiing, learning to ski in particular. But it was a great opportunity to connect with the base and learn about this change of command, and to be reminded that many of our residents our participants up at the base, and of course, at certain times of the year, we're more aware as they are conducting operations. And they are deeply engaged in operations that our country is involved in right now in the Middle East, and so please keep them in your thoughts and prayers because of that engagement up at the base. So wanted to make you aware of that change of command. The other, well, a couple different items. The first is we had our high school recognition program in May, where we got to celebrate some of our graduating seniors. Since that time, I've had an opportunity to meet with our area high school principals about that annual event and how we can continue to facilitate that and make it easier on the schools and the parents, because May is such a busy month for schools in particular, and particularly for those that are graduating. And so in meeting with the principals, came away with some feedback that would be helpful to them, and also had some discussions about kind of what we will celebrate, so that we're celebrating the same things across our footprint of our 3 schools where we have students attending. So the first is that we would work to move that celebration into April. Obviously, we're capturing year-end celebrations and excellence that has been accumulated during the school year, so it's harder to do it too early, but we'll aim to do that early in April with some engagement with the schools, the counselors, the teachers throughout the year, but ramping up in that February, March timeframe so that we can be ready for that engagement in April. As you're all aware, we have 2 high schools that are physically located in Bountiful, but 3 high schools where students across our footprint are attending. So wanting to make sure that that engagement is even and evenly felt, because we're just excited that kids in our community are excelling. So we've talked about a way to make sure that the schools have what they need in terms of this being an invitation from Bountiful City for students who live in Bountiful versus students who might attend those schools but live in one of our neighboring communities. That was important to the schools, that they were able to articulate to students why one student might be invited to our recognition but not another, but because they live in a different city. We also talked about focusing on certain activities where we want to celebrate excellence. So sports teams, we decided as we have sports have their different seasons of different times of the years, that if a team wins a state championship, we will continue to seek to celebrate them as close to that state championship as possible, since obviously some sports are fall and winter and some are spring. That it made sense to kind of keep that tradition we've been establishing the last few years for the schools, to do that in that way. For our celebrations that'll take place in April, we want to celebrate excellence in the performing arts, the visual arts, and academics. And in trying to kind of make sure that we're all using the same criteria, so that one school isn't using a different criteria. We're going to be looking at, for instance, for academic excellence, looking at state Sterling Scholars, not necessarily school level Sterling Scholars. So kids that have really shown that academic excellence. And then coordinating with the High School Activities Association, since they do have festivals for music and for acting and debate and things like that, that we're kind of using that equivalent of a state championship, since the High School Activities Association puts on events for kids that are engaged in those activities. And then seeking something equivalent through state art shows to capture the kids that are, again, kind of hitting that mark of excellence in the visual arts. So that is kind of where our discussion took us. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about this area, and to make sure we're hitting the mark of what everyone thinks we want to be recognizing in this engagement between schools and city, and kind of the wraparound of the kids in our community. And it feels like a question's right.
Not a question. During the Eaglewood fireworks, I had an opportunity to sit with council members from North Salt Lake, and this conversation came up about how did we get involved with the high schools, and what is it, some of the stuff that we've been doing. And one council member in particular, I think, will be reaching out just to see what we've done to facilitate that relationship with the principals, and what they can do better in getting some of the North Salt Lake students recognized from Woods Cross.
And I think that was something the principals, particularly those of Woods Cross and Viewmont, brought up, where their populations of students are a little more mixed, that students maybe don't necessarily recognize that one of their classmates might be recognized because they live in Bountiful versus living in North Salt Lake. And so it would be, it was important for the school to be able to point back to this as a city recognition based on place of residency. I think I would be happy to coordinate with colleagues from our other cities to make sure that they're all kids in our communities, and if they're doing great things, let's recognize them. Any questions or thoughts or feedback from other council members?
I did, but then I started thinking it through, and I think I answered my own question in my brain. But my question was, what is the reasoning in not recognizing the Sterling Scholars for each individual school and waiting until state?
The thought was that's quite a group of kids from each school for each academic topic, times 3 schools, and that were, I don't want to diminish the academic elements they have, but yeah, we were looking for, how do we recognize kind of that top tier of excellence, and looking for, I sometimes hesitate to equate academics with athletics because they're very different, but from a sports perspective, if we're looking for a state championship, from a Sterling Scholar perspective, looking for the same.
And my only counter to that would be, if you're on a team, it is a lot of students. So you could argue there aren't many opportunities for academic teams. So if we're going to honor the entire volleyball team or soccer team, which is 25 or however many, what their roster makes up, you could argue that, I don't know, for the school, that there's a certain amount. But I understand the reasoning, but.
And this is our recognition that we can shape
Yeah.
however we want. This is our time as a council. I mean, I've had some discussions with our city manager about, we want to be thoughtful about our time in a council meeting and using it efficiently to work through the city's business, but also I think this has been very important on my time on the council, this connection we have with the youth in our community, but it is ours to shape. And so if the council's direction is you want to go, with the school Sterling Scholar level, then I'm happy to take that back and have that discussion with the principals, because this is ours.
Only because it's not so visible, and those students don't always have a chance to shine as much as state. They don't get the natural recognition that students who win a state championship. So that would be my only question. But again, it's not necessarily a deal breaker for me. But I do think there's value in it for our youth.
There is an academic Olympiad team from each of these high schools, and they do win state awards. We may want to look at the academic Olympiad teams.
Maybe that's the missing
That's a statewide
component.
competition for academics. They go and take tests. Sounds so fun, doesn't it?
Hey, they're clearly interested in challenging themselves, and I think that's something we recognize. And I'm happy I'm going to add that to my notes about academic Olympiads.
Thanks for taking the time to do this, Mayor.
But as you all know, I'm a spouse of an art teacher, and so I feel also strongly that the kids that are sometimes engaged in those visual arts, often also, there's not as many opportunities for them to be seen and be recognized. And so I want to capture kids that are doing really great things in a variety of areas, and it's not just sports, and it's not just your usual academics. It may be music and theater and visual arts as well. And with that, I think that concludes my council reports. And that means we can move on to consideration of expenditures greater than $1,000 paid on June 17th, 24th, and July 1st, as well as our May 2026 financial report. And I had a heads up that Councilmember Bell had a question, and so I'm actually going to go to him so that he can ask his question.
And I think, I don't know if this is a staff question, and I don't know, I don't expect one of these to be answered, but if you do know, either David or Gary, maybe you could help me. And David, thank you specifically for helping with some of these that you responded to. You're great. You're real-time checking emails. Wow, thanks. So I did wonder, on that, one of the expenses we're going to approve here in a minute is the Olympus insurance, and there's close to $1 million in premium there. I was just curious, how often, are they so specialized in what they do for cities and governments that that's the main vendor out there? And how often does that go out for, does it go out for bid, so to speak? What, can you speak to that? I just don't have enough experience to know.
Yeah, we can answer that. We review quotes with Olympus, who's our broker, every year. And depending upon the bids we get
So
back
they're the broker.
They're the
They're not
broker.
the insurance. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they kind of an independent, and they go out and shop it to all the different items.
Right. Brad, anything you'd add there?
Yeah, I mean, we switched a couple years ago. Now our main carrier is Travelers. We also use several others depending on if we're talking about our cybersecurity insurance, different insurance. We had to have a few different brokers. But yes, we use Olympus. Cities in the state that are insured, self-insured, like us, we really, as far as brokers, we kind of have limited options. Every year we're evaluating whether this is the right system. But no, Olympus is our broker, and in my interactions with them, granted this is my first year, it was handled by Mr. Rasmussen prior to me, but they're very conscious of cost. They're very willing to get different bids. They're very willing to work with us. They work with several different cities like us, but that's kind of the short end of the process there.
Thank you very much. That's helpful. The other one is this is not on expenses, but I think when we do the motion, we approve the financials. So I was just going to ask this quick question, and this is maybe a little bit harder. Don't expect an answer right off, but I was going through some of the graphs, and I was interested in one in particular. It's the revenue, and it has to do with franchise taxes. And I was looking at the budget, and we were getting close to the budget year end. And I was curious if it's down from what we thought it would be, somewhere around almost not $1 million, but 700,000 or 800,000. I just wondered, is there anything going on in franchise taxes that we did that would reduce the revenue, or is that? I just was curious about that.
So those ones come in a bit delayed.
So is that just a timing difference?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that
we'll
was the
have,
question.
even though this is through May, we still have, the franchise taxes are 2 months delayed.
Okay.
So we'll get those in through August.
I wondered if that was the case. And with that, if there is more discussion, I won't make a motion, but if there is no more discussion, I'll make a motion.
Anyone have any further questions on the financials before us for consideration? Looks like no, so you should make a motion.
Okay, I'm happy to make a motion to approve the expense reports that we're looking at here for, I guess we have June 17th, June 24th, and July 1st. And do I need to package the financials in there as well? And approval of the financials? The approval of the financials for the, looks like it's the period ended May of 2026.
So we have a motion from Councilmember Barr, second from Councilmember Segura, motion from Councilmember Bell. You can't make both motions. And a second by Councilmember Segura Barr. All in favor of approving the expenditures and the financial report, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Next, we'll move on to consideration of the appointments of Jamie Welsh Haro and Darren Perks to the Planning Commission. Council members, as you are aware, we have had two planning commissioners who have reached the end of their terms. Both served us for quite a while and provided great service to the city and good guidance on the Planning Commission. Sean Monson and Lynn Jacobs, both as they reached the end of their terms for different reasons, indicated they weren't interested in reappointment due to either length of service or different changes in their life related to their professional employment. And so that created two openings on our Planning Commission. We posted the opening so that interested residents in serving the community on the Planning Commission could apply. From that list, I worked with our city planner, Francisco Astorga, to select a few individuals that we interviewed. And these were the two individuals that I thought would provide some interesting background and experience and diversity of perspective to our Planning Commission to help us in the important work of the Planning Commission as we implement the general plan. So you have a little bit of their background in your council packet. And I'm going to turn to Francisco to see if he has anything he wants to add, and then invite actually both of our candidates to come up and just tell us a little bit about themselves so that you can get to know them just like I was able to get to know them.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. The only thing I want to add, if you could turn to page 60, that would be the makeup of your Planning Commission, but there was a mistake on here. Richard Higginson is not on the Planning Commission. It is Councilmember Beth Child. So if these appointments go through, that's how your commission would look like. And we are very excited to have two new members as we are starting next week the work session that we're going to start implementing the comprehensive general plan. So the timing is impeccable.
Yes, wanted to make sure there's a full contingent to do that important work. So I'm going to invite, we'll go first with Jamie and then with Darren to come up and just say a few words about their background, their engagement in Bountiful, and so that you can have an opportunity to meet them just a little bit. So Jamie, thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council. I'm very much looking forward to this opportunity. As I told Mayor Bradshaw in our interview, I have 15 years in the federal government, and I've done communications through most of that time. And the federal agency that I work for, we work with small communities, very rural, usually under 20,000 in population, oftentimes with, just a couple dozen people in the community. And it has been a pleasure and an honor to oftentimes attend many of their council meetings and their town hall meetings when they have an important decision to make. And I know that there's a lot of people that go into that. So I think it would be an enjoyable experience, yes, but also it's just the right thing to do. I think this is what I told Mayor Bradshaw. I think it's really important for people to be engaged in the community at different times in their life so they can lend different perspectives and be able to, give what they can give when they can give it. I kind of, peek into city council goings on, so I try to keep tabs on what's going on in my own community, but overall, I'm just excited about the opportunity to participate in a completely different manner. Up until now, my past volunteer work with the community has been on a school community council, and also in college, I volunteered at Summerfest, helped host a dance troupe. It was great fun. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you for being willing to step forward to serve. And now we'll invite Darren Perks to come up and do a little bit of an introduction of himself as well.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm Darren Perks. First and most importantly, I've been a resident of Bountiful since 2003 when we built our home here, and we've loved raising our children in this community. So we have 5 children. We've tried to keep them all somewhat involved in the community, and this is home, so we love being here. I am excited to have the opportunity to help serve in the city, so I'm excited for that. A little bit about myself, my career. I have been practicing in a multidisciplinary civil engineering landscape architecture firm for 30 years. 2 different firms, but over 30-year period, and have been actively managing civil engineering projects for about the last 15 years of that 30-year career. I've been a project manager. I'm also a licensed landscape architect, which was the first 15 years of my career. This is also would be a slightly different role for me. I'm used to standing here and talking to planning commissions. So it will be a slight role reversal for me, but I think it will be wonderful. I'm excited about the general plan. I've read through that draft, and it's going to be a fun experience working with planning staff and with the city as that general plan is implemented. So I'm super excited about that as well.
Thank you, Darren.
Yeah.
So council, you can see that I think these are 2 excellent individuals from our community that are prepared to serve, bring us different backgrounds and different perspectives to help do the important work of the Planning Commission. So it is my hope that that you will approve of these appointments and that we can put them immediately to work.
I'd like to make a motion, Mayor, to approve the appointment of Jamie Welch-Jarrow and Darren Perks to the Planning Commission.
Second?
We have a motion from Councilmember Child and a second from Councilmember Segura Bar. All in favor of voting for these 2 appointments, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It looks like you guys are stuck now, and you have to show up to Planning Commission meeting next week. We look forward to having you join our Team Bountiful in this new way. I'm sure Francisco will have lots of fun reading materials to supply you, so get you up to speed. We appreciate that you're willing to serve us in this way. You're invited to stay for the remainder of the council meeting. We will totally understand if you have other engagements this evening. Thank you for your willingness to serve us. Next, we will move on to consideration of an appointment of Councilmember Millie Segura Bar to the Centerpoint Board of Directors. Councilmembers, this is an appointment I think we thought we had made in January when Millie first joined us on the City Council. We learned that Centerpoint has 2 different boards. And so we completed part 1, but not part 2 of the intended assignment. And so the intention was that she be our representative on that full board of directors. And so we need to correct that with a motion.
I'm happy to make a motion to have our city council rep, Millie Segura Bar, to serve as the Bountiful City's rep on the Centerpoint Board of Directors.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Bell and a second from Councilmember Murray. All in favor of this appointment of Councilmember Segura Bar, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Does this mean that she has to perform in one of the plays?
It will expect that next time we have a discussion about pool tables, we will expect her to engage full-throatedly in that musical.
Yep, okay, thank you.
I have been known to dance and twirl now and then, so, no, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for your confidence.
Yeah, and thank you for representing us on
You
that board and that group. So we'll move on our agenda. Consider approval of the purchase of 2 2026 Ford F-150s for the Parks Department, and we'll have our Parks Director, Brock Hill, present this item for us.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the City Council, I appreciate a few moments of your time tonight. I bring before you the request to purchase 2 Ford F-150 four-doors for our crews. Not too long ago, you approved two new full-time positions in the Parks Department. One of those is a park superintendent, and one of those is a crew lead. These two new vehicles are intended to support their work and assignments in the Parks Department. We did go out to bid. We talked to the state contract holder for Ford, Chevy, and Dodge, which happens to be Young Automotive. They hold all of the state contracts for those brands. They did come back with a cost of $52,533 for a truck. That's a Ford truck. We couldn't find anything that was comparable in what we were asking for in a Dodge or a Chevy, which I thought was odd. There's lots of trucks sitting on lots and everything, but just not this level of specified truck. So we are asking to purchase those as Fords. These work trucks are budgeted for in our fiscal year 27 capital equipment budget, and there are sufficient funds in there to cover the purchase of these two trucks. Staff recommends the council approve the purchase of two 2026 Ford F-150 4x4 Ford crew trucks from Young Ford as the state contract holder and low price bidder for the cost of $52,533 each. And I'll entertain any questions.
Councilmembers, do you have any questions for Mr. Hill?
If there are no questions, I'm happy to make a motion.
Looks like there's no questions, so let's go to that motion.
I propose that we approve the purchase of two 2026 Ford F-150 4x4 four-door crew trucks in the amount of $52,533 from Young Ford.
We have a motion from Councilmember Segurbar. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Child. All in favor of approving this purchase, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Next, we have a series of purchases to consider from Mr. Charles Benson. We will start with the purchase of a Road Tech RP 195 highway class paver. I look forward to him telling us all about this paver.
Well, let's talk asphalt, and that's what we need the paver for. So we had our Dynapack paver we purchased back in 2011, so it's 15 years. We've had quite a bit of use out of that paver, and it's time to replace it. We went out and looked for solicited quotes from Road Tech, Arnold Machinery for Dynapack, and RDO Equipment for a Vogel. The prices came in a little higher than we thought they would at the time on there, $600,077 for the Vogel. Arnold Machinery, the Dynapack, which is similar to the one that we have right now, and then the Aztec Industries for the Road Tech. So over the years, we've been looking at what could come next for us. The Road Tech paver is made by Aztec Industries in Tennessee, so it's an American-made piece of equipment. We purchased directly from Aztec because we have a Road Tech mill right now, and we've been having great customer service and parts availability for that. Fortunately, by comparison, we've had some difficulties getting parts for the Dynapack. And actually, Aztec has been able to help us out for finding some parts that would work on that machine so we could keep it going. So with that all being said, we're looking at recommending that we go with the Aztec instead of the Dynapack. We are about $11,000 difference in that. So we're not taking the low bid. We're looking at the second one up on this. We have budgeted in the capital appropriations budget $625,000, which would cover all of this. So the staff is recommending that the council approve the purchase of the Road Tech RP 195 highway class paver with a Sourcewell discount as well from Aztec Industries for $596,838.22. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Council, do we have any questions for Mr. Benson tonight on this item?
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. There are a few big ticket items on tonight's agenda, and I think it's important to, or I would like to think, we have terrific department heads who are really good at watching the markets and having a proposed budget that fits those proposed markets as far as watching things that might need to be replaced down the road. And I think it's pretty remarkable that for our budget, you had slated $625,000 for this, and we're at $596,000. And that's a lot of our proposed items tonight are just falling right in with our budget. And so I'm grateful that we have department heads who can help us plan ahead and who are watching things down the road and equipment that is needed in our city to keep things moving along. So thank you for your diligence in doing that. Not only you, but everyone in all of those department heads, so.
Thank you very much for that. Yes, we look at this constantly to make sure that we can get what the city needs at a reasonable price.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? If not, then it looks like we're ready for a motion.
I'd be happy to make a motion to approve the purchase of the Road Tech Highway RP 195 Highway Class paver at the price specified.
We have a motion from Councilmember Child. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a second from Councilmember Bell. All in favor of approval of the purchase of the Road Tech RP 195 Highway Class paver, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, looks like that one is unanimously approved. We'll invite Mr. Benson to stay for his next item, which is to consider approval of the purchase of a Peterbilt 520 chassis from Jackson Group Peterbilt, and also Labrie Refuge Body from Signature Equipment.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So the next item is a side-loading refuse truck. So these garbage trucks, we have 7 of them that come out, well, 2 recycle and 5 garbage trucks that go out every day. We have it on a 6-year rotation that we're doing these on, and it's time coming up now for replacement again. So staff consulted the Sourcewell, a multi-state competitive bidding contract, which the city participates in, to identify the following equipment that meets the needs of the department. So the Peterbilt chassis was at for $209,969. So this chassis was actually less than what we paid last year. So this is kind of surprising for us. But unfortunately, the Labrie Refuge Body came in at $172,850, which is a little bit more, but the overall price is almost exactly what we paid last year for a truck. So somehow we managed to beat the inflation that came through this year. And this is the same chassis and body that we, in the rest of the fleet, so our parts availability is really good to keep these pieces of equipment running. This equipment is part of our 10-year capital plan to replace the equipment as needed, and we had $400,000 in the budget for this. Staff recommends that the council approve the purchase of the Peterbilt 520 chassis from Jackson Group Peterbilt for $209,969, and the Labrie refuse body from Signature Equipment for $172,850, for a total of $382,819. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Charles. I did have one question. I know as we came out of the pandemic here, sometimes we had to wait a long time for delivery of these types of vehicles. Is this one going to be receivable soon?
This is going to be hopefully receivable by June
Oh, that's great that that's
of next
improved.
year, so.
Oh.
Unfortunately,
I
things-
assumed when you said June that you didn't mean like a couple weeks ago, yeah.
No. Unfortunately, the lead times have stretched out on a lot of this equipment. And unfortunately, in my stormwater, the truck we were supposed to get in June, I might get in October. So
So it
we're,
hasn't gotten better.
things are, the chassis can get better, the body's stretching out this time. It's strange how the market is.
Okay, thank you. Council members, any other questions for Charles on this item?
No, I'll make a motion, Mayor,
Thank you.
to recommend that we approve the purchase of the Peterbilt 520 chassis from Jackson Group Peterbilt for $209,969, and the Labrie refuse body from Signature Equipment for $172,850, for a total of $382,819.
Second?
We have a motion from Councilmember Murray and a second from Councilmember Segura Bar for the combined purchase of $382,819. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Looks like that passes unanimously. By the way, you're giving Mr. Johnson a run for his money on being the one with the most items up for budget consideration. So we'll go to you for the next item,
Okay.
which is approval of the purchase of a Bobcat T740 T4.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. So we need to replace our 2015 Bobcat skier loader. It's used by all our patching crews, our road crews. It's a very versatile piece of equipment, and we have several attachments that go onto it as well that make it a very useful piece of equipment. We referred to the state purchasing contract for the Bobcat. Came in at the contract price of $68,173, $54 for this. After reviewing the warranty package, determined that that meets the needs and is a good quality purchase for the city. As part of our 10-year capital plan, we had $72,000 allocated for that replacement. The staff recommends the council approve the purchase of the Bobcat S740T from Bobcat for the amount of $68,173.54.
Council members, any questions about the Bobcat purchase? Would you like us to name it?
Sorry?
I was just wondering if you wanted us to name it for you.
We can consider that.
Okay,
This is Bobcat 2, or?
just checking. Keeping you on your toes. Council members, any other additional questions for Charles on this item?
If there are none, I'm happy to make a motion. I propose that we purchase the skid steer loader as printed in the agenda.
I'll second that.
We have a motion from Councilmember Segura Bar and a second from Councilmember Bell. It does not include naming, so I think Charles is safe. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, you've still got one more on here. So this is consideration of purchase of a Ravo R5 from Enviro Clean Equipment.
Correct. So so we have a sweeper now. Unfortunately, sweepers live in some of the worst conditions that are around, and so they don't have a long life. And so we need to replace this piece of equipment. This one is kind of unique. It's a little smaller in overall size, but the hopper size is about the same as the other thing. So it's picking up the same volume of material, but it's smaller and can get into corners much easier and is much more, so like on Main Street, all the parking stalls, it can get into that area in the parking lots. So we have different equipment for different applications. And so one doesn't fit all, so that's why we've got all these unique ones that work for us. So this also has a third arm that can reach down into the gutters in Plat A that are pretty deep, clean that out, and then be able to pick that material up. So it works out really well. So we are recommending, we've set aside $360,000. It came in under budget on that. So the staff recommends the council approve the purchase of the Ravo R5 with the options on the Sourcewell contract from Enviro Clean Equipment for $351,182.22. Is there any questions you have?
I'll just mention that the street sweeper was one of the items at a career fair for the Muir Elementary that the kids found super interesting. Super interesting piece of equipment to get to see up close. Any other questions, council, on the purchase of this street sweeper?
I don't have any questions, but I'm happy to make a motion and say Merry Christmas Streets Department. Feels like, there you
Thank
go.
Christmas in July,
Yeah.
yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the purchase of a Ravo R5 with options on Sourcewell contract from EnviroClean Equipment for $351,182.22.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Child and a second from Councilmember Murray to approve this purchase. It again escapes without a name. All in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, it looks like you're off the hot seat now.
Thank you very much, council.
Thank you, Charles, for coming tonight. Next, we will turn some time over to Mr. Alan Johnson to consider the approval and purchase for equipment related to the Echo Transmission Phase 2 insulator and crossarm change replacements.
Yes, Mayor and Council, it's an honor to be here tonight, and I'll apologize that this is an off week, so I only have one, and I won't be able to bring my normal quota in for you.
It's okay. I mean, it's okay that a different department head has an opportunity to bring significant purchases before us. It's nice that you could share.
I'll try and keep that in mind in the future then. The one we're talking here is our Echo line. It's the one that goes from Bountiful Bolt up over the mountain and goes to our hydroelectric plant on Echo Reservoir. And as we've been here before, this would be the second phase that we've been going and changing the insulators and the cross arms on this process. This is in a really rough area. Like I say, our crews do great jobs, but we don't have the equipment to go climbing mountains and working from helicopters and stuff. So we went out and get contractors again. We did get 4 contractors that came, and when they went and inspected it, only 2 of them were able to do this work within the timing we need. We need to do this work when the hydro's not generating power, but yet you've got to do it before winter sets in. We had anticipated this year that our Echo Hydro project would be out of water by the 4th of July. However, people have monitored their water use, and they have done it to where they anticipate we're actually going to get some generation up until close to the middle of August. So we've got this scheduled to start on the 10th of August, and then it'll take it a couple weeks, and we need to get it done not only through our water use time when we shut it down, but the landowners up through there, they have hunting clubs and different things. So we got to stay out of hunting season, so this is going to work really well on the timing. Anyway, the low bid came from Cache Valley Electric for $222,040. We did discuss this at Power Commission, but it wasn't ready to bring it to, but we went and pulled them all, so we have a Power Commission recommendation for this to be done. We do have roughly $617,000 budget, so this is under budget and within what we anticipated for the project this year.
Thank you, Alan. Any questions, council members, for Alan on this?
I have a quick one. This is, thanks for being here, Alan. It's good to see you. This is for the consulting side, right, of the contractor?
No, this is the actual physical work.
So it's the work that's being done.
Yeah, this will be
Was there already
CAD.
equipment that we approved, or like the cross arms? Did we already do that? That's really the question. Was there
The
things that we
The
already approved
cross
or will
arms and
approve?
insulators, we got them from 2 different vendors. The insulators, don't quote me on it, but we'll call it 19.5, so it was just under what I was able to design. So all the insulators, we've bought them.
We
and
already
they're
have
here.
all that. That was the
And
question.
the cross arms was, I'm gonna say it was about $8,000 or $9,000 for the cross arms, but the miscellaneous bolts and materials stuff has already been bought, and they're sitting on our warehouse floors. They've been coming in here the last couple of weeks, and so they'd be here in time to do this. So like I say, this is all we need is just the physical labor, and they will bring their own equipment. I'm sure they'll rent helicopters, as they did the last one. They did a lot of the work from helicopters, where they actually brought man in, they brought equipment. It's really kind of an interesting thing to watch when they change those cross arms, when the helicopter brings it in like a crane, and you got the lineman on the pole, and they bring the helicopter and drops those big, some of them are 25 feet long. Bring them down, line the bolts up and bolt them in, and then release the helicopter, and he goes off and picks up another one. It's quite a process these guys use up there.
When we were back at the Power conference, Jess showed me a few of those videos of the helicopter, and they drop these guys off, and they work on it and then pick them back up, and pretty amazing process. I'm happy to make a motion to accept staff's recommendation to approve the low bid from Cache Valley Electric for a total of $222,000, 222,040. And that's my motion.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilmember Bell. Do we have a second?
I do have a question.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, we'll pause for a question.
Alan, just in the staff report, you indicated that there were 4 phases to this project,
Yes,
and for the budgeted amount of $617,000, is that for each individual phase, or is that for a total of 4 phases?
This was what we had identified in this year's budget to do this phase.
Do this particular
So,
phase.
so like I say, as you've gone through,
Okay,
when we're going contractors, number one, you have to look and see how hard it is, but how busy they are. We're hitting a time where contractors are in between jobs, which meant the prices was lower than we anticipated. So our price per pole is actually a little bit less than our phase last year. So the third phase, which we'll be bringing to you next year, we'll have what our estimate is for that third phase in the
Okay.
budget.
thank you, that was that clears that up, and so if there are no more questions, I'm happy to second Councilmember Bell's motion.
Thank you. So I have a motion from Councilmember Bell, a second from Councilmember Segura Bar for the contract approval for Cache Valley Electric. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. And I feel like you should stay longer for more things, because you usually do, but I guess you're done.
Well, thank you very much, but I might sneak out, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Next, we'll consider approval of the excavation expense for 50 West and turn time over to City Engineer Lloyd Cheney to explain this fun item.
Thanks, Mayor. The reconstruction of Bountiful Elementary was a really good thing for many of our residents, but unfortunately, that process was a little hard on 50 West Street, and as that project wrapped up, city staff recognized that that road was in really bad shape, and we were anxious as to whether or not that road would actually make it through last winter. If we'd have had a really wet winter, I think we would have seen a lot higher maintenance costs on that. I came up with the idea of entertaining the school district to see if they would be a willing participant with us to reconstruct that street, since their hauling activities contributed to the demise of some of that pavement. And they were receptive to that. We decided we would split up the workload a little bit, and I thought it would be great for us if we contributed the things that we were really good at, like Charles's crews milling asphalt, since we have good resources for that, and that we could do the paving, since we're really efficient at that too, and we get a great price through our state contracts to complete that work, and we could control the schedule of the paving probably better than most other methods that we could employ. We did include the reconstruction of this street as a schedule in our previously awarded street reconstruction projects through the year, and we received a bid price of about $224,000 if we were to include that as a schedule with Black Forest Paving. We felt like Black Forest already had a full plate with the two projects that we included in that project, and that the right thing to do was to coordinate with the school district and complete that work with them. One of the things we didn't anticipate, though, was the condition of the sewer trench. Obviously, we knew the pavement had failed, but as we removed the pavement, it was obvious that the condition of that sewer trench wasn't going to be suitable for street reconstruction and subsequent paving, and that we needed to do some remedial work because the school district and Hughes had agreed to do the excavation and the grading prep work for paving. We worked with them to come up with some pricing for that work, and I provided an analysis in the staff report which compares it to the very recent bidding process that we went through for street reconstruction. And although Hughes's proposed costs are not maybe as good as what we got from Black Forest, they still are very competitive based on the analysis of the 11 responses we got. I felt like they were very considerate to us and showing that they wanted to be a good partner on this project. So based on the estimate of the quantities and doing a little comparison of how they broke out the costs compared to how we would analyze the costs in our contracts with, say, like Black Forest for the year, We've estimated those expenses at about $65,000. And maybe to put that into perspective, I believe our overall cost to the city to reconstruct the street will be about half of what it would have been had we awarded the full contract to Black Forest. I think we're going to be in the neighborhood of $120,000 to $130,000, and I feel like that's a, 50-50 is a pretty good split for most things. So I'm requesting council's approval for the proposal submitted by Hughes Construction at the unit prices that they've submitted with an estimated cost of about $65,000.
Thank you, Lloyd, and thank you for having the brainstorm to ask the school district to share with us and the cost of that road. Council members, do we have any questions for Lloyd on considering this item?
If there are none, I'll make a motion that we approve the excavation expenses for 50 West and award that contract to Hughes Construction in the total amount of $64,819.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Segura-Bar and a second from Councilmember Murray for approval of the excavation expense for 50 West. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Seeing none, passes unanimously. That takes us over to item number 16 with our city attorney, Brad Jepson, for consideration of the approval of ordinance 2026-07, amending titles 1 through 4 of city code.
All right, council and mayor, this is what we went over extensively a couple weeks ago. So I'm first of all going to show you guys the changes that I made. They were very small based on your input. So we're going to page 96 and we're looking at 2-4-102. And we are looking at, it's on 97. D, this previously said the city manager. We changed that to be the hearing officer may adopt administrative rules governing appeals under this chapter, including rules governing scheduling, pre-hearing procedures, exhibits, witness disclosures, etc. We did this in order to give the employees a little bit more control and to give the city a more neutral perspective when it came to due process. The second change we made, if you turn over to the procurement code, which I believe we're in Title 2.5, I'm having a hard time finding it myself. 2.5, number 6. This is we added this entire, 2.5.102, subsection A6. We added this entire section to allow for professional services. What I wrote in here is in procuring professional services, the surety shall consider cost as a primary evaluation factor together with qualifications, experience, availability, and other factors the city determines to be relevant. I believe that was the input that I got at study sessions, so I made those additions. We have talked about this for over an hour aside from that. So unless there's any other questions, I'll leave it up to the council to give me further direction or for a motion.
Council members, do you have any questions about this item in total or about the two specific call-outs on changes from the work session that Brad outlined for us?
I do. If someone could just remind me, I know that when we were speaking about employees in title and employees need to appeal, there was a discussion about we just wanted to make sure it was fair. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yes, I think I was the one that was raised some of the question about, at first it was, instead of a hearing officer, it was the city manager, and then some discussion about may versus, shall on that adoption. So that would be.
And shall, okay, there it is. So it's item C under section 2-4-102. Is that what it was?
2-4-102.
Shall not be, it's on page 96.
I think it's actually the
Is it
D.
not that one?
It's the same section, it's just go up to D. That's the piece that we changed from the work session discussion. Sorry, page 97.
Yes, 97, this is the one I highlighted first. This used to say that the city manager would adopt the rules governing, I believe it was. And we did talk about changing may to shall, but I believe instead of changing that, we decided to change the words hearing, or city manager to hearing officer.
Okay, thank you. So it's, okay.
So further up in this section, Councilmember, in A, so now it says that the city attorney shall appoint one or more hearing officers, and then it flows through with the hearing officers'
Yes.
authorities,
Okay,
which
thank
is,
you.
which is where that shift comes from.
I remembered that discussion, but I couldn't entirely remember how we ended.
Remember,
So,
the reason
yeah.
why I put the city attorney there is because under our policies and procedures, the city manager is the last appeal under our policies and procedures before you get to our city code. So that's why we didn't have the city manager also appointing the new hearing officer.
Very good.
Any additional questions, council members, on this item?
If there are none, I'd love to make a motion that we approve ordinance 2026-07, amending titles 1 through 4 of the Bountiful City Code.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Segura-Bar and a second from Councilmember Child to approve ordinance 2026-07, amending titles 1 through 4 of Bountiful City Code. Any discussion on this item, council? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor of approval, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Passes unanimously. That takes us to Mr. Jepson's final
Yes.
item on the agenda, which is Resolution 2026-13. I love that we're now to lucky 13 on the resolutions, which is to consider a facilities lease agreement with Utah Broadband.
All right, thank you. I'm going to start by saying I am actually unreasonably proud of this item. The amount of work that went into this item cannot be overstated. When I originally got here, we had a couple mystery towers that we didn't know whose they were. One of them recently pulled up stakes and moved out. The other one was owned by Utah Broadband through a series of assignments. They didn't originally own it. Through some negotiation, we got to where they're paying some back rent. They'd also been borrowing some power, so they're going to pay power back, an estimation of power back almost a dozen years. And now we are entering into a new lease. It's not a lot of money. They don't use a ton of power. We're entering into a new lease where once we get this lease secured, they'll be working with our power department to get their own power source up there and paying for it going forward. The lease is pretty common terms for this type of a tower and this type of a location. It's a little bit different than a cell tower, but everything else, I believe, should be in the staff report. So I am asking the city to pass a resolution to allow the mayor to execute this agreement with Utah Broadband for a lease, for a 10-year lease.
Where's their tower located?
That was it's on Lauren Drive, right? And is that right? There's a water tower?
It is by our water tower above Lorien Court, which was at one time owned by the Derricotts, which is what led to a lot of confusion. They weren't sure if this was on their property or our property, but it is right behind, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to defer to Lloyd to give you any more specific location than that. I know it's right above Lorien Court.
Yeah.
Is that Stone Ridge?
Yeah, it's in the Stone Ridge subdivision. It's on the very,
Lloyd, as you
North and
answer
east
it,
side.
I don't want to dash Brad's, this is an amazing thing, thank you. What's the water tower to? I don't even know if there's a water tower up there, what is that?
it's really
Water
not a
tank.
tower, it's a buried reservoir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
It's a
Just
reservoir.
A great job, Brad, thank you. This is awesome.
So we are
We'll get him trained.
It's great that we can team up between the
recommending that
engineer and
we
the attorney.
pass resolution.
Okay, so now we know where the mystery tower is and that it's near a reservoir, not a tank.
I actually Google mapped it before I came trying to figure it out, and I saw it. I mean, I could see the home. I couldn't see anything up there, and I actually knew it was the Derricotts' home. Or I don't know if it still is, but it used to be, but anyway, in that area,
I believe they have sold the home to a new owner.
so.
Okay, Any further questions, or are we prepared to make a motion on this resolution?
I could try to make a motion if I can find his wording.
I can help you out that it's resolution.
Okay, I'll just make a motion to
2026-13.
accept, to approve resolution number 2026-13 with the broadband lease.
We have a motion from Councilmember Bell. Do we have a second to approval of the resolution 2026-13?
Second.
We have a second from Councilmember Child. All in favor of approval of this resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I would like to tell Brad that we are reasonably proud of you too.
Well, I mean, if you do the full story, maybe it's not fair, but this was like the first thing Lloyd talked to me about when I got here about 3 years ago, so it didn't happen immediately.
Are you more proud of this than, say, like boom boxes and dance halls?
I actually am. This took a lot of work.
Okay. I just so that we have an appropriate scale with which to judge you by going forward. Thank you. Council members, we have a final item on our agenda to consider, and that is to adjourn to a closed session to discuss the acquisition or sale of real property pending litigation, or to discuss the character and/or competency of an individual as outlined in state code. Is anyone prepared to make that motion?
So moved.
We have a motion from Councilmember Segura-Barr.
Second.
We have a second from Councilmember Murray. This is a roll call vote, so we will look to our bingo drawing system in order to call this vote.
Councilmember Segura-Barr,
Yes.
Councilmember Murray,
Yes.
Councilmember Bell,
Yes.
Councilmember Child,
Yes.
and Councilmember Higginson is absent.
Looks like that passes unanimously. Do we need to amend to say that we intend to go into the closed session and adjourn after and not return to an open meeting after?
Sorry, one more time? This is a discussion we had last time.
Yeah, we don't intend to return to an open council meeting after.
Yes. So did we know, I'm sorry, did we miss that motion? And
We might need a clarification in that motion that we intend to,
I propose, do you want me to make a motion?
sure, why not? Let's do it over, just for funsies.
I propose that we adjourn to a closed session to discuss the acquisition or sale of real property pending litigation and/or to discuss the character and/or competency of an individual, after which our meeting will adjourn for the evening.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, Councilmember Segura-Barr, this second, again, thank you from Councilmember Murray. And just for fun, we will repeat the bingo exercise.
we will not. Councilmember Bell,
Yes.
Councilmember Segura-Barr, Councilmember Child,
Yes.
Councilmember Murray,
Yes.
and Councilmember Richard Higginson is absent.
Thank you, and we will adjourn to our closed session. Thank you.
Sorry for not using your bingo cards the second time.